I'm Maheshika Halbeisen, and this is the Queen Elizabeth Leadership Podcast, the show where we discuss the leadership lessons from the book, The Job Well Done, The Queen's Way to Successful Leadership.
Welcome in, everyone. Ever feel like you need a masterclass in handling pressure? Like, how do you stay so cool and collected when things get tough? Well, get ready. Today we're getting a lesson in resilience, royal style. We're talking about Queen Elizabeth II.
That's right. We're diving deep into The Job Well Done, the Queen's Way to Successful Leadership. It's amazing. We're going to unpack some seriously practical tactics you can use no matter what life throws your way.
And you know what I love about this book? It starts with something we can all relate to, falling off a bike as a kid. It's that universal thing, right? Picking yourself up, dusting yourself off. And then the book connects that to how the Queen faced challenges, big ones, throughout her entire reign.
It's such a good point. It is universal. And that's resilience in a nutshell, isn't it? It's not about never getting knocked down. It's about bouncing back, maybe even stronger than before.
And let me tell you, the book does not shy away from the tough stuff. We're talking Princess Margaret's love affair, the fire at Windsor Castle, and even how the Queen handled the public scrutiny after Princess Diana's death. These were huge events.
Huge, and every single one tested the Queen in a different way. But here's the thing. She faced them head on. Like in 1992, what a year. Even the Queen herself called it Annus Horribilis.
Annus what?
Annus Horribilis, basically, horrible year. Fires, family stuff made public, nonstop criticism. It was a lot.
That's an understatement.
Totally. But she never, not once, stepped back from her duty. She just kept going.
It's like she knew, somehow, that being open and honest, showing a little vulnerability even, that would actually bring her closer to people. People respect that, don't they? That realness, especially during hard times.
They do. But, it wasn't always serious. The book also talks about this time on the royal yacht. Things were going wrong, dinner was a mess. Apparently the crew was running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and the Queen, you could tell, was annoyed.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Right. But here's what she did. Took her napkin, just casually draped it over her face for a moment, gathered herself, and when she took it off, all smiles. The book describes it as this, magic trick.
You're kidding. Seriously. See, that's something I would read and think, okay, sure, that happened.
Yeah.
But knowing it's in this book, it makes you wonder, what other tricks did she have up her sleeve?
Right. It's a fantastic example of self-awareness, being in control of your emotions. Instead of reacting right away, she took a beat, a pause to gather herself. Really smart and really effective.
It is so simple, but I bet it's incredibly powerful. Makes you think, we could all use a napkin trick sometimes, right? That little pause to reset before reacting. Just brilliant.
Absolutely. And sometimes, that pause, that reset, it's about finding a little humor in the situation, too, which, if we're being honest, the Queen was great at.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like that story in the book about this event, totally official, and someone accidentally knocked over this whole cushion of medals.
Oh, no.
Yeah. They went everywhere. Most people would have totally panicked, right? But the Queen, not her. She just laughs and says, don't worry, just put them back in any order. We'll sort it out.
She's got jokes. That's incredible.
I know. Talk about grace under pressure. And speaking of incredible people, the book talks about some of the figures who really inspired the Queen, specifically Nelson Mandela and Stephen Hawking. What did you think about that?
It shows you what she valued, resilience. But on such a huge scale, Mandela fighting for justice his whole life, never giving up.
Powerful.
And Hawking, talk about overcoming obstacles. His illness, but he never stopped contributing, never stopped pushing forward. Amazing. And the Queen saw that, appreciated their strength.
It adds a whole other layer to how she approached things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't just about having inner strength, but recognizing it in others, drawing inspiration from it. Wow. Which reminds me, there's this whole other part of the book. It gets all sciencey with it, talking about the science behind resilience.
Oh, yeah. The book talks about thinking of life like a lab.
The lab? Okay, tell me more about that.
So it's about changing how we see things, right? Instead of being terrified of failing, we should be more like scientists, curious and okay with things not working out. Because even if it's a failed experiment, you still learn something. It takes the pressure off.
It's funny you could say that. It reminds me of this quote, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." If we're passionate, if we approach challenges with that same kind of curiosity as scientists, it's not about being perfect. It's about trying, learning, and then trying again.
Exactly. And think about it. Scientists, they've got a whole team, right? They rely on each other, just like we all need people we can lean on, especially when things get tough. We can't do everything on our own, and sometimes it's about those oh no moments. You just gotta laugh.
Oh, stop. Speaking of, the book mentions this event. Right. One of the Queen's birthday celebrations. This photographer, I think he was having a day, accidentally spilled sherry on the carpet. Mortifying.
No way. How did she react?
You are not going to believe this. The Queen, she just acts like nothing happened. But here's the kicker. Later that same day, the same photographer, he has another accident. And the Queen, so calm, she just smiles and says, "Oh dear, it really hasn't been your day, has it?"
Stop it. That's amazing. Most people would have totally lost it. She has the best stories.
Doesn't she? To be able to laugh that off after a whole day of events, it just goes to show her ability to stay grounded, to roll with the punches. It's incredible.
It really is. And it's a good reminder for all of us, right? When something goes wrong, we have a choice. How are we going to react? That's what defines us. Just like the Queen and those spilled drinks, sometimes you just got to find the humor in it.
Absolutely. It's all about perspective. But, you know, resilience, it's not always about public mishaps. Sometimes it's the personal stuff that's the hardest.
Yeah.
And the book gets into that too, how the Queen handled grief, especially losing Prince Philip. So sad.
You can just feel how much she loved him reading that part of the book. You know what got to me? She kept going, kept doing her duty, even though, you know, she was heartbroken. It wasn't about pretending she wasn't grieving. It was about finding purpose. Her work, her role, that was how she kept going.
That's so powerful. And it's a good thing to remember for everyone, right? When life throws those curveballs, there's still a reason to get up in the morning, to find something to look forward to, even if it's just taking things one day at a time. It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Resilience isn't about being stoic, never letting things get to you. It's about finding that inner strength to keep going, even when, honestly, you just want to pull the covers over your head and hide.
Seriously. And the book even talks about, get this, the assassination attempts against the Queen. I mean, talk about pressure.
Oh, gosh, I'd forgotten about that. Were there multiple attempts throughout her reign? It's crazy.
It's wild, right? Like, it's one thing to lead a country, but to face those kinds of threats, too. It's a lot. And the book talks about one incident in particular. During Trooping the Color, this teenager, he actually fired blanks from a starting pistol at the Queen. Can you imagine?
That's terrifying. What did she even do?
She kept going. I mean, her horse was startled, obviously, but she got it back under control and finished the whole procession like nothing happened.
Wow. That's another level.
Right. Like, talk about keep calm and carry on.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, for all the talk about resilience being this quality you have or you don't, she really shows how much of it is, honestly, just doing it. Keep moving.
It's true. We can't always choose what happens, but we can choose how we react. Just like you were saying about perspective, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like the Queen with the spilled drinks and the medals, you just gotta laugh.
Finding the humor, for sure. It's definitely one of her superpowers. But it goes beyond that, don't you think? She had this incredible sense of purpose, like there was a job to do, always.
Absolutely. And she took it seriously, but never took herself too seriously, which I think is inspiring, right? Like, we can learn from that. Embrace the challenges, be ready to laugh at the craziness, but remember what matters.
What a lesson. It's been so interesting, really eye-opening to dive into all this with you. You know, it makes you realize resilience, it's not just for queens.
Right. It's for everyone. It's a journey, and it's different for all of us, but we can all learn from her example. Be curious, find what gives you purpose, build your support system, and hey, maybe master that napkin trick while you're at it.
I love it. And there you have it, a masterclass in resilience, straight from the Queen herself. So next time things get tough, remember her example. Take a deep breath, channel your inner Queen, and ask yourself, what will she do? You might surprise yourself.
You just might.
Are you ready to elevate your leadership to new heights? Learn from the Queen? Follow us on this podcast and get your copy, The Job Well Done, The Queen's Way to Successful Leadership. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Maheshika Halbeisen and tell me how the Queen has inspired you.